Hey, what's going on, guys? Mcskillet here with another CSGO video, and today going to be doing a video on some skins for CSGO that used to be some of the absolute rarest skins in the game for pretty decent periods of time, but because of various factors, these skins are really not that rare anymore. Some of them are still kind of rare compared to your normal CSGO skins, but they aren't nearly as rare as they used to be. So let's get into the first skin, which is the Souvenir R8 Revolver Amber Fade. When this skin came out, people didn't even know if this was a real item because this skin was added into a game in a way that no other skin's ever been added. It was kind of weird. Basically, they just kind of threw it into the Dust 2 Souvenir package, and when the R8 came out, it wasn't in the middle of a major or anything, so you could actually go back onto the old Souvenir cases that did not have the skin on before, and it would show the skin up and you could actually unbox it, and it was super rare. I spent $1,000 trying to get it because I thought it was just about the rarest skin ever, and I never got it. But there was actually one guy that unboxed a field tested one, and it was the only one in the world for quite a long time. And there's been some other ones unboxed from the old Souvenir packages, not too many, but this one I'm actually showing in game here is a really unique skin because this is from a Katowice 2015 Souvenir package. It's the only one from one of those packages, and it's also factory new, which of course is the rarest condition. And that's kind of weird because the skin was basically added like nearly 2 years after this was actually released, so kind of weird to think about. But anyway, there's actually 75 different Souvenir R8 revolvers right now, so it's really not even that rare of a skin. You can get one for under $400. I think even the factory new ones are less than $400 now, because I've heard some people having trouble selling the factory new ones, and of course other conditions aren't nearly as collectible, and you can probably get those for in the 200s or less, because it is an R8 skin, and I mean, it's not really that valuable, so pretty easy skin to get now, and not even that rare at all as well, even though it used to be the rarest skin for CSGO hands down. So next up we have the knife that used to be the most legendary, the absolute rarest knife for CSGO. And well, actually it probably wasn't the rarest, but it was always the most expensive, and it still is extremely expensive. But it used to be insanely rare as well. There used to be only 1 or 2 in the world, and now there's 20 of them. And if you don't know why that is, it's because of duping. I have a whole video about how the duping crisis happened, so if you want to watch that, I'll put the link in the description. But there's 20 of these that exist right now, and there really should only be like 5 or 6 if you take out all the ones that are not duped. So this skin, it'd be worth so much more right now if it was never duped, because it still sells for $10,000, and that's with 20 of them existing. So this really isn't even that rare of a knife. This is actually less rare than a StatTrak factory new M9 Emerald. There's 14 of those that exist, and again there's 20 of the Crimson Web. So the price is pretty crazy for this item, and really isn't that rare anymore compared to how it used to be. But now to the next item, we've got the StatTrak AK-47 Fire Serpent. The one you're looking at here was unboxed so much before basically every single other Fire Serpent. I actually think this is a really cool item. It's got the Headhunter foil. This right here is the original StatTrak factory new AK-47 Fire Serpent. And this used to be worth a crazy amount. Like, I remember people trying to sell this for like 6,000 keys, because there was only like 2 or 3 of these in the world at the time that people realized how valuable they were. I think they've actually sold on the Steam market ages ago too, which is pretty painful to think about. But if you check now, there's actually 125 different StatTrak factory new Fire Serpents. There's a bunch crafted in trade-ups, and then there's ones crafted in trade-ups that were also duped. So overall, there's just a whole bunch made, because basically people used to not actually know how the trade-up float values worked, and they had no idea how you could actually get a StatTrak factory new Fire Serpent from a trade-up. It's actually, you have to get really low floats, so there was never any made from trade-ups. There's just 2 that were unboxed before the whole trade-up thing. But there was actually a guy on Reddit who cracked the whole trade-up float code, and that was a pretty big breakthrough when it comes to the StatTrak factory new Fire Serpent, because that made it so now there was 125 of them, and if there wasn't that, there'd probably only be 3 of them right now, I believe, if you just taken the ones that are StatTrak factory new that are not from trade-ups. So pretty crazy. This would be just about the most expensive item for CSGO by far if people did not figure out how the trade-ups worked, and it used to be so much rarer than it is today. So finally, we've got an item that's kind of on a similar boat to the StatTrak factory new M9 Crimson Web, but it is a little bit different in a few ways, which is the Op Dragon Lore. Pretty much any condition, to be honest. These used to be the ultimate fabled CSGO item, and it still is a pretty like fabled CSGO item. I would say, but it honestly really isn't even that rare of a skin if you actually look at the number of these. There's actually thousands upon thousands of Op Dragon lures, tons in every condition. There's tons of duplicated factory new ones, tons of duplicated field tested ones. There's also just a lot that have been crafted in trade ups and ones that have been dropped over time, to the point that it really isn't even that rare of a skin anymore. I believe the Op Snake camo is actually rarer than an Op Dragon lure. A little fun fact right there, even though the Op Snake camo is worth basically nothing compared to Op Dragon lure, which the factory new ones are nearly $2,000 right now, which is quite ridiculous. The skin is still so valuable, even after how many were duped in the duping crisis, and even after how many have been dropped in operations. Like, it used to be a much rarer skin, a skin that like was a little bit more fabled than it is right now, but I guess it still kind of kept its rep. But either way, there's thousands of them. I wouldn't even really consider it a rare skin myself. But that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Hope you guys like this video. If you want to trade your CSGO skins, you can definitely check out skin.trade. You can pick the items you want to trade, pick the items you want. You can trade, you'll get a trade offer on Steam. You can also add skin.trade to your Steam name. You get an extra 2%, I believe. So you can definitely check that out if you want. But I'm Mcskillet, and I'm out.